The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station. The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.
Mga kapugad, ito po si Attorney Darwin Cañete. Inaanyayahan ko po kayong manood at makinig sa aming programang Pugad Vloggers dito po sa DZRJ 810 AM Radyo Bandido TV.
Watch and listen to Pugad Vloggers Monday to Friday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Airing on Sky Cable Channel 224 and on all DTT boxes. Simulcasting online on Facebook and YouTube. Listen and watch on your mobile devices. Just search DZRJ Radio Bandido.
Pugad Vloggers, Pugad Vloggers, ang kurap titirisin, sa loob sa bayan wawalisin, walang sasantuhin, ang saya-saya nakakabaliw, kasama natin ang tropang Pugad Vloggers, Pugad Vloggers.
Dahil you exist, the fact that you exist is enough for governments to try to influence. Diba? So, ano yan? You need to buy, or parang binibili, no? Kasi it takes money eh. Money is grease, no? Langis yan, pera. Money is the grease of politics. Kahit saan. Let's be realistic, no? So, foreign governments spend time, effort to have a presence in the United States. Kahit ba ikaw ay isang bansa na hirap at hindi na mapakain mismo ang iyong mga kababayan sa Africa, no? Like in Africa. They spend to maintain embassies in Washington. Mahal yung andun. Mahal dun yung real estate dun, ang upa. Diba? For what you pay in rent in Washington, ano na yan? Pwede mo nang pakainin ng ilang libo, ilang milyong kababayan mo. Alisin sila sa hirap. But people spend because they need presence in Washington. At alam natin lahat, at alam ng mga Amerikano na maaari silang manipulahin ng ganitong mga operations, mga influence operators, mga lobbyists. So may batas sila. Diba? So we have a law. No? Meron silang batas. No? Meron silang mga, you have to register as a lobbyist. Lahat ng lobbyists nila, lahat ng mga nag-influence na kanilang policy, they register. Kailangan, otherwise you will be arrested. You will be in violation of their law. Diba? May batas on lobbying. Kasi yung mga batas ng United States can affect foreign trade. They can, diba, Congress can set, yung Kongreso ng United States can set mga tariff, mga retaliation, mga pagsagot sa mga any kind of hostility. Diba? Pwede nilang direktahin. No? That they can direct the US military to visit particular countries to bamboozle, to force, to strong arm, to be friendly to Washington. No? So, ano yan? Merong tinatawag na Foreign Agents Registration Act. It requires disclosure of foreign lobbying, no? Which is why kung ikaw ay kukuha ng isa sa mga professional lobbying firms, Washington, it's actually professional. No? Ito yung mga personnel na nagdo-door to door minsan, pupunta sa mga opisina ng mga senador, congressman ng United States upang mag-lobby. But you have to be registered. Kung hindi, that is against the law. So why is that issue? Sa Amerika, naging issue yung tinatawag na foreign interference sa elections. Yes, nakakaroon daw ng pangingialam ang mga countries tulad ng Russia sa any form of election to pick the kind of friendly candidate. Kasi alam naman natin, history din ng US at Russia, nagbabanggaan yung dalawang yan eh. Di ba? Lalong-lalo na sa question ng Europe and as you know now, yung Ukraine. Di ba? But anyway, there was during the administration of Donald Trump allegations of Russian influence operations para mapanalo, ma-improve ang chances ni Donald Trump upang manalo. That was the allegation. And nagkaroon nga ng FBI investigation tungkol doon. Maraming mga ginawang trips to find out whether Russia affected the elections nung natalo si Hillary Clinton ni Donald Trump. Diba? And in some ways, no, was a big scandal. Diba? Up to now, actually, ginagamit nila yan. No? Kailangan ng, ano nila, ng, kaya nagkaroon ng scandal yan. And, as we know, that is a probable issue. Because meron ding sabit yung ano eh, yung interest ni Biden at ni Hunter Biden, itong mag-ama. Of course, Joseph Biden being the American president and his son, Hunter Biden, na nagkaroon ng scandal for receiving payola or yung pera galing sa Ukraine. No? And in fact, marami ding allegations na kung gusto mo ng friendly treatment sa administrasyon ni Biden, eh dadaan ka sa anak. 'Di ba? That is corruption at its core. Okay? But you know, that is not unusual. As again, yung premise ko kanina. Whether United States or the Philippines, yung ibang bansa talaga may foreign operations. They will try to secure. Hindi lang naman bansa ang may interest na mag-lobby eh. 'Di ba? Corporations din, mga negosyo. 'Di ba? In the case of businessmen, merong tinatawag na, you know, yung batas din ng United States, you cannot have corrupt practices in securing businesses. That's why kung may kalaban kang American firm, yung kalaban hindi pwedeng, you know, mag-resort to bribery, to resort to corrupt practices in order to get foreign contracts. Kasi imbestigahan talaga yan. At pag nagkaroon, magpo-protest ang Amerika dyan that their, you know, businesses were sidelined by corrupt practices of their opposing bidders. So, very, very careful tayo dyan. May batas yan. Diba? So, anyway, yung foreign government lobbying, di naman talaga illegal. Regulated lang sa United States. Mga kababayan, wala tayong counterpart law dito. Wala tayong counterpart law dito. That is the problem here. Kaya medyo free for all dito, no? And that is now the issue that I'm going to talk about, foreign government operations. Sa atin, nagkakaroon ng turuan, and I was really outraged that I was part of a list, which I don't know why kasama ako sa list na yon, but, di ba? Kasi the allegation is you are, if you're friendly towards certain people, you are a traitor. It happened to our friend, blogger Sas, Rogando Sasot, who is sometimes a guest in this program. Because that is the problem. Hindi nga regulated, mahilig, hindi pa defined. Diba? So, there's no, mahilig mag-label ang mga tao na, if you advocate for a certain point of view, you are already labeled and boxed at a certain, to be belong to a certain group, which is not correct. Their public intellectuals kasi talaga are, have an expansive view of issues. You have to understand, no? Pag ang public intellectual nagsalita on a certain, it comes from a certain studied perspective. Meron silang pinag-aralang laman. On the other hand, pag politiko ang nagsasalita, they have already also, dalawa lang yan. If they do not study the issue, they are either already picked aside. Meron na yung piniling side ng argument. So, sarado na isip nila. Usually, meron tinatawag na cognitive bias, no? Meron na silang, sarado ng isip nila tumanggap ng alternatibong point of view. Or otherwise, di ba, they are already shaped by biases whispered to them. Meron din silang mga consultants, meron din silang tinatanong, ano bang position dito? Di ba? They are, itong lobbying, normal yan. There's nothing wrong with lobbying. No? Kasi they are part of modern public policy making and geopolitics. Kasama yan sa politika ng relasyon ng bawat bansa. No? Ang pagkakaiba lang is kung merong, yung public, walang problema. Kita mo mga embassies, they usually have friendship days. Meron silang mga festivals, cultural and arts festivals. Meron silang mga sponsorship ng mga or celebration of particular national holidays. Yun ang pagpapakita nila sa kanilang host country na they are open cultures, that they are friendly cultures. Yun ang positive influencing. Di ba? Like for example, the American Embassy, they usually celebrate 4th of July, Independence Day. At nag-iimbita sila ng mga, key people to celebrate with them. Diba? That is how they create a positive image for their country. Diba? Ang problema is, pag nagiging hostile na yung kind of promotion, meron ng laganap na disinformation, yung pagdi-distort ng balita upang magkaroon ng certain viewpoint. Okay? Ang problema minsan, dahil nagiging hostile na yung environment, yung nadadala ng emosyon. Kasi there's actually a, yung emosyon mo isa sa mga minamanipula talaga ng foreign influencing operations. May may mga various tactics na ginagamit, no? It ceases to become influencing, it's more of interference. Ibig sabihin, ginugulo na yung sitwasyon upang hindi mo na maisip kung ano talaga ang nasa interest mo bilang bansa. Diba? That is crossing the line from foreign influence to foreign interference. Okay? So, ano na yan? Again, I've been using the United States as an example. Alam nila yan. They were able to get a hold or they were able to at least regulate the evils of that particular kind of actions, no? Kasi but like I said, by the very nature of the existence of the United States, talagang magkakaroon ng influence operations lahat ng bansa because there's, sabi nga nila, if this country sneezes, everybody gets a cold. Bumahing ka, lahat magkakasipon. No? That is how prevalent the influence of the United States is in all countries in this planet, sa planeta natin. Diba? So, kailangan i-mitigate yan. And that is the problem that I am going to address in this particular program. We have not regulated. Yung regulation na fair, no? Because ang problema ngayon, dahil free-for-all nga ang naging sitwasyon, there is now no regulation. We have not even defined lobbying and foreign influence operations. We have not addressed that problem. Nagkakaturoan kung sino ang traidor, sino ang amboy, sino ang Chinese boy, sino ang ganito. Tuta ng China, tuta ng US. Diba? That's the problem. And we are hurting ourselves with that. Tayo nagtuturoan, tayo nag-aaway, yung mga puppeteers sa ibang countries will be benefiting. Diba? Baka hindi naman talaga tayo dapat nag-aaway-away. We should be able to distinguish public intellectual discussions with actual threats to our security. Which is why we need to address the legislation. For me, it is a legislative issue to regulate foreign influence operations, any form of lobbying. We need a centralized form of agency to monitor social media, mass media, and yung mga sinasabi nilang face-to-face actions ng foreign agents in our country. I'm not particularizing any particular country. This is lahat yan. Lahat yan. Whether Western or Eastern, neighbor, etc. Ang thinking ko talaga, because it is hurting our country, we are fighting each other without even knowing the problem. Dahil nagtatapunan tayo ng akusasyon, ng traidor, when some people just want to speak out on a legitimate issue. Problema, para i-silence sila, they are being labeled. Diba? And it is becoming uncomfortable to a democracy to silence legitimate political discourse. Tama, di ba? Kailangan ng transparency in foreign and domestic lobbying. Di ba? So, how do I see it? Well, anyone representing foreign governments, political parties, corporations, individuals, NGOs. NGOs kasama yan, ha? You have to disclose your relationship with a foreign government. Diba? There has to be a registration to make it legal. At para magkaroon ng ethical lines na hindi mo pwede i-cross or else you will be prosecuted. Diba? It will be non-racist. Ibig sabihin, lahat kayong on the same activity, whether you're American, European, Chinese, Japanese, whatever nationality. Diba? It should be nationalist neutral. You have to register. Diba? Hindi porke napapansin yung isang country because they are doing things that you may not like, but your sentiment may have been affected by the operations of another country. Diba? It's the same thing. Manipulated ka pa rin. Diba? So you need to regulate. You need to turn it into a law to make sure the manipulation, diba, if any, will not be hurtful to our national interests. Diba? Lalong-lalo na if you are a person that has been assigned a very sensitive post that will be critical to a particular set of issues. Compromise na pala yung tao na yun, tapos binigyan mo pa ng power to decide. Diba? So we need to do that. We need to... Kasi, look sa... People calling other people traitor. But what is treason? Eh, walang gera eh. How can you prosecute? Diba? May defense eh. Kailangan talaga ng hostile eh. Kailangan ng open warfare eh. You know, merong position ang isang senator that we should go after traitors to the country. I have no problem with that. We should go after traitors to the country. Problema natin, the definition of treason is very, very specific. Iba yung foreign terrorism, ha? Foreign terrorism involves actual violence, actual hostile actions, actual damage to the public. Iba yun. These are, foreign influencing is different. You are trying to shape public opinion. You are trying to move the government in a certain direction. Diba? So, kailangan yan. Let's say, that's why in the United States, they work through NGOs, through particular foundations to influence countries. Diba? Pumunta ka sa lahat, maraming doon, maraming mga conspiracy websites, and you will see palaging na-accuse ang CIA, no? Central Intelligence Agency. We also are going to not spare the Chinese Politburo. Diba? Lahat sila. Pareho yan. But we cannot afford to be racist. Hindi rin maganda yon. We have to be, diba? We cannot profile kasi discriminatory. So we are hampered by that, no? Which is why we need a non-racist, non-national specific laws, and that has to be a catch-all, dapat catch-all na batas laban sa mga foreign influence operations. Diba? Nakagulong United States dahil sa foreign influence operations daw ng Russia, lalo na interference in elections. We are all, alam naman natin, we have problems in the West Philippine Sea issue. We have problems, of course, in trafficking of drugs and people. We also have issues on transnational crimes. Diba? Marami dyan. So, why not regulate the ability of foreigners to affect our domestic policies? Diba? Yung disclosure ng kanilang mga pondo. Whether you are, the easiest the way that they can influence us, media operations. May mga reporters na, di ba? Yun ang ginireklamo ni 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗆 ito. Di ba? Oh, but it also goes to the other side. We have the National Endowment for Democracy. I'd probably go to the extent of Rappler and CNN. These are also foreign affiliated with US media companies. Are they not also ways, just because friendly tayo sa US, pero at its essence, it's practically the same. Diba? So, ganun yung ko dito. If you want to punish, sabi natin pro-China, but if you want to be fair, you also punish the pro-US. Parehong foreign lobbies yan eh. Parehong foreign funded influence operations yan eh. So you have to disclose funding if you are operating as a media company, an NGO, etc. Meron kang affiliation with a foreign government, any form of funding, any form of influencing. Diba? That is why maraming reklamo sa, like for example, yung mga Umidyar network. Diba? Yung Soros back. This is not just a problem exclusive to the Philippines. This is also part of a global problem. Yung sinasabi, like for example, Fox News in the United States. Sino may-ari? O Australian, Rupert Murdoch. Diba? Mga ganun eh. People should realize, yung ating Constitution is very explicit. We want media corporations, we have people, alam ng natin mga nationalists yan eh. Alam nila ang ating vulnerability to manipulation of mass media eh. Alam nila yan eh. So you have a country like you know, you have our constitution that is very explicit. 100% Filipino ownership. Why? 'Di ba? Because ayaw nating maging sunod-sunuran, 'di ba? Sa dictate, sa manipulation ng isang government. 'Di ba? Anyway, tingnan ko muna ha. At ang ating thread dito sa ating 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗱 Sabala, good evening sa'yo. Aubrey Taurus, good evening sa'yo. Roxanne Costo, good evening sa'yo. Yan. Sino ating mga night listeners. Thank you so much for joining us and watching our program, no? Mga kapugad. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nanonood din si Zelang, Carlos de la Cruz, Leia Pearl, Ignacio Roli, Teresita Abaw, 𝗕𝗵𝗴𝗱 Nosal, Dan Repensor, Jun Jiminay, Gisela Ortiz, Arnelio Tungo. Thank you so much for watching our Pugad Vloggers program dito sa DZRJ 810 AM. O nga pala mga kapugad, no, we are always on sa DZRJ 810 AM Facebook page, no. Yung mga hindi nakakaabot sa amin sa radio because our signal, you know, sometimes gets interfered with, no. Kung meron kayong internet connection, pwede nyo kaming panoorin sa Facebook page ng DZRJ 810 AM. Likewise, no? Likewise, nandun po din kami sa YouTube. So like, share, and subscribe mga kapugad sa amin doon, no? We have a Facebook page and we are also on Stream app. Download lang po. And of course, cable channel 224, no? Sa iba-ibang cable channels mga kapugad. Anyway, balik tayo doon, no? Pag-usapan natin yung foreign influence operations ng Amerika, halimbawa. Diba? We have something like the National Endowment for Democracy. No? Meron silang maraming mga ano dito, reports dito sa online, eh. Kung nababasa nyo lang, no? NGO siya, but the goal is to provide support for democracy abroad. Air quotes. Mga NGOs ang hawak nila, no? Pero sabi nila, they sometimes, no? Again, these are reports in the internet. Hindi ko naman sinasabing I can validate it. I'm not a journalist, no? Pero sometimes they have been accused. Inaakusaho sila na nagsasubvert by using democratic movements, no? Mga target countries na hostile sa interests ng US government. They are a form of soft white glove operations against, diba? Countries that are maybe perceived as hostile to the interests of the United States. So merong mga, diba, color revolutions, flower, Arab Spring has been accused. It's a movement noon na the protest among some Islamic governments, no, that diba? Like Serbia, Velvet Revolution, instigated daw ng NED yan, sometime in October 2000. Who knows? Yung Rose Revolution in Georgia, which caused the resignation of Edward Shevardnadze, the then president of Georgia. Sabi nila, Orange Revolution sa Ukraine, no? They said they funded around as much as 65 NGOs, no? About $65 million to the Ukrainian opposition. Meron din silang operations in Egypt, Yemen, Jordan, Algeria, Syria, Libya to give financial support to pro-American individuals. Which is not to say they are the only sinners. Meron ding sa China. Yung kanilang mga tinatawag na Tencent operations, yung kanilang mga ano ba yung mga let me just check ha. Mga Tencent operations, no? What is that is mga ano bang meron din China influencer operations yan. Wait Pero yung political influence operations ng China is a bit meron din yan. No? So anyway, based on this, no? Ganun din ang China eh. Lahat sila guilty. Let me just check. Nakaka-ad block. Paano ba to? Okay. Okay, well, sabi nito, there's this Laura Rosenberger, Director for Alliance for Securing Democracy. We are in a competition between democratic systems and autocratic systems of government. China has grown in its geopolitical and economic clout, is trying to portray itself as a system that is equally legitimate to democratic governance in opposition to U.S. interests. So ang sabi ni 𝗕𝗹𝗆𝗆, Director of the Digital Forensic Research Lab at the Atlantic Council, sabi nila, the infrastructure and the bureaucracy from China is more designed to present their point of view and persuade potentially sympathetic audiences around the world. So persuasion, hindi interference, no? But same difference. So, ano ginagawa nila daw? According to the report, they might have fake social media accounts. Then they spread false messages on social media like Twitter, parang smoke mirrors and misdirection to influence Americans. So basically, fake accounts. Sabi nga nila, 𝗕𝗏𝗆 dragon. They have they analyze Facebook and Instagram groups, pages, etc. So more on direct social media. It's clumsy, but it's there, no? Parang hindi pa sophisticated, hindi pa refined. Diba? Same thing with Russia, what they did now with the Trump. They focus messaging, they targeted spam messages, emails, etc. No? That's what they did with Russia. Diba? But these are all based in foreign countries, no? Which is why, of course, you heard some of our personalities here, no? That sinasabi nga nila na i-regulate natin yan. Pero like I said, without a law, we may be unfairly targeting certain individuals who are only, diba? So kailangan natin ng batas talaga. We need something equivalent to the Foreign Agents Act of the United States. We need something that will cover foreign influence operations. Like I said, pareho lang sila. while, the United States has the National Endowment for Democracy, Media Network, foreign American-based news organizations and NGOs. Sa China naman, influencer operations. But what's the difference? Pareho lang. They seek to create positive support in social media for decisions that are favorable to either US or China. Pareho lang. Same kulay, same difference. Which is why kailangan natin, para hindi naman tayo magmukhang racist, to really regulate. We need the law. We need to define what is foreign interference, what is foreign lobbying, and why we need registration of individuals. Para alam natin kung sinong babantayan. Alam natin, pag nagbigay ng opinion itong taong ito, alam natin may kulay yan. Meron na siyang nire-represent na side. Wala namang problema if they say something favorable to one side or another. I have no problem with that. That is freedom of speech. That is freedom of expression. Democracy pa rin tayo. Diba? You may not agree with what I have to say, but you have to respect my right to say it. Diba? Ganon democracy eh. Wala kang magagawa. Kung hindi mo gusto marinig mo, you know what you can do? You can turn off the TV. Hindi mo gusto yung narinig mo, wag mong kausapin. Kung ayaw mo yung narinig mo sa radyo, like our program, you can turn off the TV, you can turn off the radio, you can turn off the internet, switch to another channel. Ganon lang yun. The power is in you, whether you want to listen or not. Kaya hindi ako galit sa kung merong point of view na hindi nyo gusto na magsalita. Diba? Magsalita kayo na magsalita, no problem. What we want is transparency on who you represent. Sino ang behind you? Sino ang nasa likod mo? That is the essence of that. Hindi porke, you are given favors that affect, alam mo yung product reviews. Yung mga nagre-review ng mga produkto like cellphones, television, whatever appliances. Diba? May diferensya ba pag alam mo na yung nire-review yung item, binigay na ng manufacturer? Diba meron? Kasi, halimbawa, sabi doon sa isang vlogger or sa isang reviewer sa YouTube, ito, nire-review ko ang iPhone. As an example. Then, nalaman mo pala, the iPhone was given as a sample, as a gift. So, expected mo na, ito ang tuwa yan, regalo sa kanya, di glowing yung review niya. Or kung hindi man, kung parehas man, may konti kang duda na yung sinishare sa yung information at sinasabi sa iyo ay hindi bias, walang kulay. Yun lang hinihingi natin. Walang problema kung may kulay ang sinasabi. Ang tanong namin is, ang gusto nating malaman is kung pwede disclose ninyo kung saan galing ang kulay ninyo. That way, we can make intelligent assessments of what you had to say. Diba? That's basic. That's the law. Kasi I don't want to unfairly accuse people. Let's not accuse people unfairly just because may mananilig ka sa nila na favorable for one side or another. Ano ngayon kung nasa China, kung nagbiyahe sa US? Does it matter? Basta alam mo. Diba? Before listening. And that's what we need to do. We have to regulate. We cannot just throw around that very loaded word na traitor, etc. That is a very loaded word. That is a very criminal word. Masakit yun. Diba? Some people are just sharing their intellectual assessment of an issue. Diba? Ang kailangan lang talaga natin is disclosure. Kung yung point of view mo, diba, is paid for and sponsored. Yun lang, para hindi naman kami, parang isa yan sa panimbang namin. That is what we need to do. Diba? To be fair. Because it is not only China that does it. Many countries does it. Lalong-lalo na may strategic interest sa atin. Not only China. Diba? For example, remember may claims tayo sa Sabah, which is also a territorial dispute. In fact, we had Sulu, members of the Sultanate who went to Sabah to try to claim it. Lahud, di ba? The ones who went there in Sabah. Why is it not contentious now? Parang de facto na nating na-surrender yon. It was an issue before. That was the so-called 𝗕𝗲𝗽𝗆 massacre, di ba? Na in-expose nung isang sided with Malaysia. Remember that guy? Oh. But we are not angry now. So, ibig sabihin, somehow, somewhere, it's not an issue. But it's also a territorial thing. Eh, yun talaga, land. May kontrata pa tayo. Rental agreement. Di ba? Oh. Pero de facto, nasa state of Malaysia. Why are we not pursuing that? Because, okay, yun ang tanong. So many issues. So our opinions may have been unconsciously manipulated, shaped by foreign influencers, by foreign operations. But we are not aware na ganun ang nangyari. So we need our country, our legislators to protect us from those kinds of manipulative interference in our opinions. Diba? So we need disclosure. We need mandatory disclosure and protections. Huwag lang tayo magtatapon, mag-aaway sa social media. Diba? All sides, regardless of nationality. For me, all sides, regardless of nationality. Whether it's China social media, 10 centers, yung mga kanilang bot accounts, or whether it's a more sophisticated push for color revolutions of the National Endowment for Democracy or any kind of firm. Wala namang problema if they want to influence us. We just want to know who you are. Diba? That's not such a bad thing because that's just mirroring the, sinasalamin lang natin yung advancements sa Amerika. We are not legislating anything new. America has done it first. The UK has done it first. The European Union also has done it also. Ng mandatory registration of foreign agents. I think we should do that. Okay? So, mga kapugad, that is more or less my program. Almost 1 hour na pala dito sa Wednesday edition ng Pugad Vloggers. I'd like to greet my fellow co-hosts, Maricar Serrano, Professor 𝗣𝗲𝗴𝗆, Doc Ethel Pineda, Mark Lopez, Attorney Tom Berenguer, Orion Perez, Professor 𝗣𝗲𝗴𝗆, na-mention ko na ba yan? I like the post of Professor Van today. Puro food. Diba? I'm also a fan of karinderya. Sana yung mga karinderya ay mahilig din. Ang problema ko lang sa karinderya is parking. Diba? Mahirap puntahan eh. Tsaka wala masyado sa Google Maps, Yung mga may karinderya dyan, yung may mga kainan dyan, advice ko lang sa inyo, use Google Maps. Ilagay nyo ang inyong spot sa Google Maps para malaman namin kung saan kayo. Maraming gusto naghahanap ng kakainan tuwing lunch. Problema namin, di namin alam na sa neighborhood lang pala kayo. Put yourselves in Google Maps or any kind of like Waze, etc. Ilagay nyo yung mga ganong klaseng guide apps para if I'm going to search for restaurants, magsushow up yung karinderya ninyo. Diba? I prefer to eat yung ulam-ulam kalde-kaldero. Mas masasarap. Yung cooking ninyo. Diba? And of course, I'd like to greet my family, my wife Wilma, my 2 kids Grayson and Sofia, my mother Vilma, my sisters Nancy, Maureen, and Mildred, my office mates in OCP Caloocan, and pasensya na yung mga Provincial Prosecutor Office ng Bulacan. Nagkalagnat yung driver ko at saka yung anak ko magdadrive sa akin may exam, so I could not go to your party. Natulog na lang ako ng maaga. Yun. So anyway, mga kapugad, thank you so much for joining us in our Wednesday program. I hope you join the watch for the next 2 programs, Oras ng Himala and Kakampi with Bernard Tan. Dito rin sa DZRJ 8:10 AM. Anyway, this is Attorney Darwin Cañete. Thank you and have a good night.
Pugad Vloggers, ang kurang titirisin, salot sa
The views and comments of the hosts and guests are not necessarily those of the station.